Hello, everyone. It's great to be back with the next bite-sized episode in the life of Peter. Today, we're going to look at a few more instances in Peter's life to see how he learned from his experiences of living with Jesus. Just before he was crucified, Jesus was having dinner with his disciples. Now, I've used the word disciple quite a lot over the last few weeks, so I thought it might be useful to explain what it really meant. The word disciple literally means follower and learner. It's a bit like an apprentice today. Jesus was not only their leader, but their teacher as well. Anyway, this meal became known as the Last Supper, and it was the time when Jesus introduced communion. During the meal, Jesus got up and took off his outer clothing. This was significant because in those days, servants didn't wear outer clothing when they were serving. And Jesus was signifying here that he was a servant. Jesus took a large bowl and filled it with water. He then wrapped a towel around his waist, knelt down, and started washing the disciples' feet. When Jesus got to Peter, Peter refused to let Jesus wash his feet. He didn't realize what Jesus was teaching them. He thought it would not be right or proper for Jesus, their leader and master, to stoop so low as to wash his feet. That was a job for the lowest servant. Again, Peter had forgotten Jesus' teaching. A little while earlier, Jesus had told his disciples that they should always put others first and serve them. He told them that he did not come to be served, but he came to serve. And here was Jesus putting his own words into action. He told Peter that unless he let Jesus wash his feet, he was not a true disciple. This took Peter aback, and again he jumped in wholeheartedly. But again, unfortunately, he missed the point. He asked Jesus to wash his hands and his face and his hair as well. But Jesus said to Peter that that wasn't necessary because he was already clean. You see, in Israel, it was really hot and dusty, and people only wore sandals on their feet. So when they walked around, their feet got dirty, but the rest of them was okay. It was like Jesus was saying here that Peter was already clean because he believed in Jesus. But he still had loads of things to learn. He still had to learn that being a follower of Jesus meant that he had to serve others just like Jesus did. A little while later, when the meal was finished, Jesus and his disciples went into a garden to pray. Jesus prayed for another way to save mankind without him having to be crucified. But if there wasn't another way, he would gladly submit to the will of his Father. This was the time when Judas was going to betray Jesus. When Jesus entered the garden, he gave the signal to arrest Jesus by kissing him on the cheek. Peter again jumped in with both feet. He wanted to protect and save Jesus, so he drew his sword and cut off the ear of one of the officials. But Jesus once again demonstrated his teaching in action. He reached out his hand and he healed the official's ear. Jesus said that they should love their enemies, not hate them, and that they should do good to them and pray for them. And this is what he was doing here. Unfortunately, Peter was a little bit slow on the uptake, but as we saw last week, he eventually got the message. He healed the lame beggar, even if it meant he was going to prison. Sometimes I think we can be a little bit like Peter, a little bit slow to catch on. But God is patient with us, just like Jesus was patient with Peter. He gently guides us back to the right path. And as he does, each time we learn to be a little bit more like him, just as Peter did. Thank you.